Welcome to Sausage on a Fork, a podcast dedicated to the UK's longest running children's drama programme, Grange Hill. My name's Neil, and in each episode I'll interview a former cast member about their life before, during and after their time on the programme. Okay, welcome to the next episode of Sausage on a Fork, and this is the episode that is celebrating the 1 year anniversary of Sausage on a Fork. It has been, as I say, 1 year since the first episode went online, and I've got to say thank you to everyone who has participated in the interviews, everyone who has played one of the episodes, anyone who's downloaded Sausage on a Fork. We're now currently coming up to 25,000 plays, which is an amazing amount, far beyond anything I could have expected. So thank you so much to everyone who's been involved. The episode we've got today, I have been joined by none other than Vinny Mann, who played Antoni Karamanopolis. Vinny, welcome to Sausage on a Fork.
Thanks very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, Vinny, what we'll do is we'll go right back to the start. And if you can tell us how you got into acting.
Well, I was, my brother-in-law was a director, and in my summer holiday, I went to stay with him in his house in the country, and he had all the collections of the Spotlight.
Right.
So it's nothing to do. We were just sitting there as kids, going through them and looking at all the actors, and oh yeah, I know him, I know her. Uh-huh. And then at the back of the Spotlight, it would have all the stuff about the children actors, right, and the various stage schools. And there was one stage school that had the same uniform as my infant and primary school. So I sort of naturally felt slightly connected to the green and yellow element of it. Yeah. And I also fancied one of the girls there at the time, which is so proves how long ago it was. I'm happily married to Graham now, so yeah. Right. But yeah, it made me think, oh yeah, I would like that. And I'd been up to see my mum at her work, and in Charing Cross, and I was all dressed in this green and yellow uniform. Uh-huh. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to go and sit near them on the train and eavesdrop, which is what I did. And they were talking about chaperones and auditions and dance classes and things like this, and it just sounded really good. And I started talking to them, and it just turned out they only lived down the road from me. Great. And yeah, I'm still friends with them now, actually. So and yeah, and I went to that school from the age of 12 until I was 18. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah. And
great days though. Yeah.
Did you get much work before Grange Hill then?
Yeah, I got a job on my first day, actually.
Oh, right,
I was yeah, my mum said, you know, I think it was about 220 quid a term at that time, which was a lot of money. Uh-huh. And my mum said, well, you can do a term, we'll see how it goes. And the school had told her that they act as an agent as well. Uh-huh. And I got a Persil poster on my first day. And I think I was one of the lucky ones, really, because some kids didn't get, you know, put on the audition list ever, but you know, my name was always on it. Right. And I suppose I just got used to going for those, you know, going for lots of auditions, and you know, I'd think, wow, yeah, wait till they get a load of me. Yeah. Which was quite over the top. I'm not like that now, honestly, but yeah, and it helped, I guess. You know, I was quite confident, and so that was, yeah. So I got quite a lot of work.
Brilliant. And so that was Corona, was it? That was the school you were at? Yeah. Yeah,
Corona Stage School in Ravenscourt Park.
Uh-huh. And were you at school with anyone who we might have known then?
Well, Knuckles from Bugsy Malone, he was at my school. There were a few people. I mean, Dennis Waterman went there, and Francesca Annis and people like that, but they weren't that. They're older than me. Yeah. So I didn't actually go to school with them. But yeah, there was lots of kids that would be popping up on things. Yeah. Yeah, I coached, yeah.
Brilliant.
Who they were. Like, I can't think of all the programs now because they're so long ago. But
yeah, but did you get to work with anyone famous then?
Yeah. I mean, I say work very loosely because, you know, in some of the jobs we were just a Boy Scout in the background
Right.
climbing on a frame. But yeah, that was in The Mirror Cracked, I think, and so yeah, Angela Lansbury, Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson. You can you start naming all those people that were in the film, and the Medusa Touch. With God, what's his name now? Who married Elizabeth Taylor?
Richard Burton.
All those times. That's it. Yeah, Richard Burton.
Yeah.
So. And yeah, all the things that you do there were, because we were at school and meeting these people quite regularly, you didn't really think about what status they had, and it didn't really faze me then. It doesn't really now. We're all human. So
yeah. So how did Grange Hill come about then?
I'd been for an audition, and I think it was for mine wasn't a huge part in there anyway, but it was for a smaller part, and I think I'd got that. And when I was doing the audition, I can't remember who it was who was auditioning me, but it was an adult anyway, and they were reading the script with me, and he did it so convincingly. It kept taking me by surprise, and I thought he was talking to me and not, not sort of in the script. So, but I must have got on quite well with him, and I'd obviously apologised. And then they asked me if I'd like to go for a different role. So I was really thrilled to get the part of Antoni. I liked it a lot.
Grange Hill had only had sort of one series when you joined the program. So were you aware of it? Were you a fan of Grange Hill? Had you watched it?
Oh yeah, I was definitely aware of it, and there was quite a buzz going on about it. I'd seen all these characters as well, so like Terry Sue Pat and Todd Carty, and just all the main characters, and I was thinking, wow, I can't believe there's something on TV like this.
Yeah,
all the naughty kids, So I was really, really pleased to be part of it.
Brilliant.
And they would turn up, like they would come to parties that we had, and and we would do tuition together, and we were filming together. So yeah, I feel like it was almost like you went there,
Yeah. So
right.
When you first joined, then what was that like? Because obviously, I mean, you said like when you met all like these mega stars, you had no sort of knowledge of this status. But what was it like when it was something you were interested in when you met the likes of Todd Carty and Terry Sue Pat?
Todd was super confident, and and he was already a star. So you want to get on okay with it. But I like it. I always got on all right. With him. Fortunately, he was. They were lovely people, all of them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I can't think of anyone on there that I didn't get on with at all. So I was really lucky.
Would you say you were closest to anyone in particular?
Yeah, Robert Craig Morgan. I hung around with him a lot, and he lived in Bromley with his mum, and we went on holiday once together. I think it was probably to see one of his aunts or something, but it was out in the country, and he had a wicked sense of humour, or I'm sure he still does. Hi, Robert, out there. But he's in Ireland now, I believe.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
but
brilliant. Okay, so you joined then, as we've said, you joined at the start of series 2, and it's a weird one, series 2, because it was the second series, but your characters were still first years, and we weren't sort of introduced to Antoni. It wasn't like, where's a new kid at the school? It was like he'd always been there, even though we'd never seen him before. And the first time we actually properly find out anything about Antoni, he was falling asleep in class. And the first episode that happened in, it wasn't really touched on why that was happening. It was like a link to a later episode. But I do like the first words that Antoni speaks is something like, just 5 more minutes, Mum, because he's asleep in class and he doesn't quite know quite where he is. So I mean, that must have been pretty easy acting there, pretending to be asleep for you there. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah, I know. I wasn't really challenged, was I? Fortunately, but yeah, I remember that quite clearly, actually.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
sitting at the back of the class, and I was like, wow, yeah, this is.
I mean,
It's my scene where I don't really do much, but
yeah,
it's nice.
people often talk about Grange Hill being, groundbreaking and dealing with, massive issues. But for me, that was quite a big issue to tackle. The fact that there was a kid asleep in class. If it was nowadays, they'd be looking into that a lot more. Like with neglect and things like that. Because obviously he was falling asleep. It came out later on. His homework was rubbish. As that was the words one of the teachers used with him. Actually, your homework's rubbish. He was late for school and stuff. And then it all came out that Antoni was working in his dad's restaurant sometimes till, like 1 a.m, doing the books, doing the invoices and things. And we find out that it was at his dad's request. It was his dad that was making him stay up. I said, a few times to people that have been on, it must be great when you get scenes that are not just in the school, because we see where Antoni lives, and we get to meet other characters. So a lot of your scenes were with adults. What was the relationship like between the adults and the kids?
The oh, we got on great with them, I would say, in general. My dad in it frightened the life out of me. He was just such a sort of one of those sort of dominant people, and the way he was talking to me, I know it was script, but still, I think I was only about 12 or 13, and yeah, it was. Yeah, he quite scared me. But people like Philomena McDowell, who played my form tutor, she was lovely. She was really nice. She was so friendly and warm, and the woman who played my mum as well, she was really nice.
I often think it must be great if you're not just in the classroom scenes, and you've just mentioned there Miss Summers, the form teacher. She goes round to Antoni's house quite unannounced, which again is of its time. That no way would that happen now. Not a chance would the teacher put themselves in that position. And Dad was.
Yeah.
I mean, you've mentioned there how he came across quite scary. That's what his character was to be like that, wasn't it? Is that the attitude of it's got nothing to do with you, basically. His words were the business was more important than his schoolwork.
Yeah, that's right. And I suppose in those days, getting food on the table was more important than some people's schoolwork.
Definitely.
But it was quite strange though, because my mum used to work in a banqueting suite,
right.
And so I was doing all these little jobs at quite a young age,
right?
Like lift attendant, and you go in and put the glasses out, or you do the layup or something like that. And at 15, I was a singing and dancing waiter at the Cockney in Charing Cross Road, and so we were out. I was out all the time, I didn't quite fall asleep in class, but I was never in bed before midnight.
Right.
But,
life imitating art there, then, was it?
Yeah, it was a little bit, yeah.
And then
at least I could relate to Antoni.
That was sort of Antoni's major sort of first introduction, wasn't it? It was like the first sort of big storyline that you had. I mean, it just seemed to be resolved really quite quickly. The mum goes and speaks to the dad, and the dad has a complete change of heart. Well, make sure you're in bed by 9. Make sure you get your schoolwork done, and you can show me how to do the invoices, and that'll be that. He made sure Antoni's routine would change, but it just seemed to be a very, very quick turnaround. Obviously, they wanted it dealt with in the episode, and I'm guessing that's why. The other thing that happened in that series, in series 2, was Antoni was picked for the school quiz team with Husey, Donald War, who again was in Bugsy Malone, like you mentioned, mentioned Bugsy Malone earlier on.
Yeah.
The quiz team versus Brookdale, and it came down to the last question, and Antoni takes his big moments to win the quiz and gets the question wrong, and Brookdale win the quiz. Then,
well, I've never been really good at quizzes, I must say, so I've kept that up.
So then that was the end.
Not the brightest spark, but I blame it on the tap dancing.
And so then that was the end of series 2. Was it decided straight away that you were going to go back for series 3?
No, I didn't. I didn't know at the time, or I don't think I did. And a pile of scripts came through, and like I was just sort of scrappering through them and just looking to see if I could find any lines for Antoni and storylines, that had him in it. So yeah, I was pleased to be in it.
I mean, you were filming that in 1979. Sorry to break that one to you. That
can't be that old.
That was on the telly in 1980, series 3. And there's a bit where I think it's on the countryside trip. Antoni goes off with Alan, and they go off for a cheeky ciggy.
Yeah.
Were you actually smoking in those scenes?
Yeah, I think we were. The thing we had to do at those time was pretend that we weren't used to it, because we were all, we were all having cheeky cigarettes here and there. I don't smoke now, for over 30 years, but I think we all were then. But it wasn't, it wasn't looked at, the same way that it is now. But
I get you,
yeah. They had to pretend to cough.
What I also liked about that scene when Antoni does take a cigarette is Alan says to him, "I know you're coughing now, but you just have to get used to it." And Antoni sort of says, "I don't want to get used to it." Basically, not bowing to the peer pressure. And I do like that they showed that, but then they did cause the fire. Oh no, it was Alan and Andrew caused the fire. Sorry, but everyone worked together to put it out. So when you were filming that scene, with the milk chains and all that, were you actually doing all that?
I can't remember.
Were you ferrying the water around? No.
Yeah, there's like the last part that you mentioned as well. Was I in that? I couldn't remember. Because the main ones that people would mention would be the falling asleep in class.
Yeah.
And then
your big storyline.
And the exit.
So did you, speaking about the exit, then how does that get broken to you? Did you say to them, I don't want to be in it anymore, or did they say to you, you're not going to be in it?
No, as far as I know, I must have been, I think I was about 16 then, or coming up to 16. And as far as I know, there was a sort of gaggle of kids that were all approaching a certain age, and therefore you're an adult actor and not a child actor.
Right.
So there was all the other lot coming in, all the youngsters that came in after that. And there's a certain amount of disposable characters, and I guess I was one of them.
Right.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have carried on, and such a final exit as well.
Yeah, I mean, that episode, Billy Phillips turns up in that episode, and we've never really seen Billy before, and he was just sort of Antoni's mate. And I love Billy's character, because when you don't know what's going to happen in that episode, he just comes across as like a bit of a comedy character, because let's be honest, he wasn't the brightest light on the tree, was he? And it's mentioned in that episode that there's a series of dares going on, and everyone needs to stop it. Everyone needs to stop all the stupid dares. But first, straight away, Antoni dares Billy to set the fire alarm off, which he does. After that happens, they all get told that the precinct is out of bounds at lunchtime because there've been loads of fighting. Now, there's a scene in that with Mr. Keaton and Mr. Baxter, and it's one of the best things ever. Mr. Keaton says to Mr. Baxter, "I've had a phone call from the head teacher at Brookdale. It seems a group of our boys and a group of their boys have been fighting in the precinct." And Baxter, first thing Baxter says is, "Did we win?" And I just love that, because I just love that about his character.
I like the one where he's looking under the toilet door for all the boys, and they'll put their legs out so that they can't get caught. And he's looking under the door in the toilet, and a policeman walks in, or the warden, or whoever it was, and he says, "Oh, I'm just looking for some boys." So that was I think that line clipped it even more. It was so funny.
It's brilliant.
Great to look back on. Yeah.
So where was that filmed? What precinct was it in? Can you remember?
That was the Arndale Centre in Wandsworth, I think.
And
there were two. There was like a split car park at the top.
Right.
So one wall went right the way down to the ground, and the other one was only about 3 feet high.
Yeah, right.
With a mattress on the other side.
There's quite a lot of running around the precinct in that episode. Did you get pretty much free reign to go to run wherever you wanted?
Well, we were directed, so we would be told, where you run, but run round the fountain once and then off. And
was it functioning at the time as well? Were you just there with members of the public? Right.
Yeah, yeah. But there'd be people sort of keeping them at bay in the filming areas.
Right. Okay. And then you've just mentioned the fountain there, the pond there. It was Antoni that took her to walk around it. As he's walking around it, Billy pushes him in, and then Billy splashed Antoni, and that sequence of events causes Antoni and Billy to end up on the roof. Now, you've just mentioned there, you were on the smaller wall, but how many times did it take many takes, the walking and the falling?
No, I don't think so. It was, I'm trying to think back, it's such a long time ago, but I can't remember it being a particularly long thing to do. There was a few sort of gym type mattresses on the other side of the wall that was low.
Yeah.
And walking along that wall wasn't a problem. And then you've got to get to a bit where the accident's going to be viable to be able to happen there. So there was a loose bit of concrete. Yeah, I remember my costume as well. I hated the costume I was in, and so seeing the close up on those boots as well. I was thinking, how comes everybody else gets nice changes of clothes? I'm always in this same stuff.
Yeah.
But we did that a couple of times, I think, and I can only remember doing the sort of screaming.
Yeah.
They said I had to scream loudly and sort of spin around on a circle at the time, so that it sounded like it was, I don't know,
like fading before,
whirring down, to doom.
Yeah, and so that was sadly the end of Antoni.
Yeah.
And it was also the end of Antoni completely, because he never got mentioned ever again. At the end of that episode, Tucker, Alan and Billy get in loads of trouble, obviously. But then after that, it was like it had never happened, because there was no sort of remorse or, in later episodes, later series, when kids died, there was always something, whether they'd be talking about them or it'd be a memorial or there was kids dealing with it. But it was just really strange that, I don't know, Antoni died and then that was it. It was.
That's how it felt.
it
dropped like
really
a hot potato. Yeah, I think Tucker said something like, "Oh, Antoni, always good for a laugh."
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah,
that was it. Done. Yeah, that was the same episode, and then after that, the next episode, we nothing at all. So, how did you feel about leaving Grange Hill then?
Yeah, I was definitely sad. It was, although I had scripts and stuff, I hadn't really had a chance to go through, all the scripts. I can't remember. I don't know if I was just sent my the episodes I was in, which I think I was gone by episode 3 in series 3. But it was one of the cast members that broke it to me.
Right.
And it was just the way she said it. It was, and so it was a bit. It was, I was slightly hurt. I didn't, I was like, oh, what have I done wrong? But I think it was just a time. They, her character, for example, just disappeared at the same time.
Right.
People were just, the older ones were sort of going, and I suppose the less, at least I had a dramatic end. I think it's arguably the first death on children's TV, but we'll see. Someone will probably come up.
Because at the time things like that didn't happen, did it, on television? So the only other one I can think of is Bambi. Bambi's mum. But yeah, it must have been, wasn't it? It was because it was shocking at the time, and that's what Grange Hill was about, wasn't it? That's what Phil Redmond wanted to show the kids doing real things, and it's not all jolly hockey sticks, is it?
No, it wasn't. And I think at that time as well, Antoni, the character Antoni was obviously being influenced, smoking, and then sort of in the toilets with the with the other boys, and he was, and those things do happen, don't they? It's so easy to just follow the wrong person,
definitely,
and get in a load of trouble.
Definitely, because he was a clever lad, Antoni, wasn't he? He was always shown, like the fact that he loved playing chess and he did all the books and that for his dad. So he was obviously a clever lad, but as you said, so easily influenced as well. So that was 1980 then. So what did you do sort of after Grange Hill then?
Things like episodes of Top of the Pops. I think in '81,
Right.
I was just part of the. I wasn't a dancer by any stretch of the imagination. I did get a few dancing jobs, but
Right.
it was only because I number on an answer phone. I was, someone fell sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had it was just casual dancers, I suppose they'd call them. So you'd go up and have an audition. I think it was Flick Colby there, and I think I did the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day episode. So you might see me milling around or trying to get as close to where the camera's going to be at that time. I can remember there was a program called The Other One with Richard Bryce.
Oh yeah.
And then to the Manor Born, I was a Boy Scout. I played a few Boy Scouts here and there. What else? So film extra things. I was doing some voiceovers, like Mother Care voiceovers.
All right.
What else? I went on, and I did an episode of Minder called Sorry Pal, Wrong Number.
Right.
With the BMX bikes outside the phone boxes where Terry McCann was doing or Arthur Daly was doing a scan on giving people racing tips.
Right.
But these kids twigged on to what he was doing, and so they were blocking the phone boxes and trying to bribe him, hold him to ransom. But
what was George Cole like?
I thought he was really nice.
Yeah.
I think, and Dennis Waterman was as well. Nice people. Yeah. And far too bright for me because they were. I was asking for 20 quid, I think, and they knocked me down to a tenner. And there's 5, and I'll give you the rest later. Yeah. So they spiffed me basically. And then I was a squatter accused of drugs and murder in the Bill. I did the rounds of those kind of things. A bit of theatre. A Clockwork Orange with the Royal Shakespeare Company. That was a nice thing to work on, and something I wouldn't enjoy but loved. It was really good. It was quite an eye opener. And at that time, I was working with people that were offering me. They had influence in other things like Starlight Express, but I didn't really want to dance. I did leave my stage school to go off and do a summer season. And at that time, I just wanted to ride motorbikes and be a headbanger. And I'm singing things like strolling, just strolling, in a boater and a striped jacket. And but looking back on it, I had such a brilliant time. And these complete strangers were so lovely to me. And I was so homesick, and I wish I'd have, I've got no regrets or anything. But if I had that particular time again, I'd just immerse myself in it and see what came of it, because by the end of a 26-week summer season, I was very flexible, and I was getting better at learning dance routines. Whereas in the past, I think I am a slower learner. I could never go to an audition and just pick up one of these dance routines, and I think, how do these kids do it? I need a bit longer to process the information. It takes a while. That's why I'll never be any good on the chase. I know some of the answers, but I can't think when I'm being timed. And if you put something going like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, I go, I can't think of it.
You've said that obviously you've been in Grange Hill and you were on various programs and you'd acted on stage. Did you get recognised when you were out and about?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, especially with Grange Hill, because it had such a big audience.
Yeah.
And it would be funny because people would say, like you'd see them sort of whispering over there kind of thing. And then someone's going, go and ask him, go and ask him. And then someone would come up and say, you look like that bloke that's on Grange Hill. And I'd say, yeah, it's me. And they go, no, it's not. And I said, what do I say to that? I do. It was funny. I wasn't a very confrontational type of person. But yeah, I kind of liked it, but I hated it for some reason. If I was with my mum, I found it really embarrassing. She would probably be proud as punch, at those times. And yeah, I guess it was like, oh God, like I was a typical teenager, I suppose.
Yeah. And
Um,
so since then, so have you always acted then?
no, I don't act. Well, I would really like to,
Right.
but sequences of events that happens, or that, so, as your life takes you off on
Uh-huh.
different tangents. So I was doing quite well with acting for a while, and I was also in a band,
Right.
and I thought, yeah, we're going to hit the big time, and we were writing our own stuff and gigging. We had a fan base, and getting little production deals and things like that. And although nothing came of it, we had, or I say nothing came of it, we had the best time,
Yeah.
and I was always aware of that and having a good time while we were doing it. I knew it wasn't the getting there, because quite often bands will split up once they achieve their goals,
Uh-huh.
and you think, wow, what did they do it all for? But yeah, I went into music, and then from that, I just by chance got asked to do a pilot for an arts and media centre who wanted to do some vocal workshops.
Right.
So I said I'd do a 7-week course. I'd never taught before, so I was quite nervous about it, but I'd had lessons, so I thought as long as I'm a step ahead of them, then I can depart some information. But on my first day, the guy from my band, who's a great pianist, he was late, and I was running all over this arts and media centre for him. They didn't know how to run a vocal workshop,
Uh-huh.
really, and so they booked 25 people in for a 2-hour class.
Right.
And I just didn't know how to deal with it. And I'd been running around this upstairs, downstairs, trying to find my pianist. And I walked into a room, and there's these 25 people staring at me. And I'm like, oh my God. I think I hyperventilated because I didn't know why, but obviously I was their teacher, and they wanted the key,
Yeah.
like, how do you sing? And yeah, but I did that for 20 years in the end.
Wow.
And I loved it. It became my life. It
Yeah.
was so all consuming. And I worked with mental health, and in particular schizophrenia as well.
Right.
Singing as being, like a therapy
Uh-huh.
for it, and it was really rewarding.
Gonna say
I,
it
I
must have been,
I
yeah.
really, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I continued my own singing lessons with Ian Adam, and he, he was really encouraging and supportive of me, and teaching me how to teach as opposed to just singing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So I was doing that, um, and some sessions, and like I would do, if I wasn't doing, like my own concerts, because he encouraged me to, once you've learned this, you learn a set of songs, and then, like, if you don't get a job by then, create one. So I met a Danish soprano at his house one day, and she said, "Can I, would you like to do a duet?" So um, we started to work together, and then we got on so well that we would have a 2-hour lesson together, and it was just every week a 2-hour Vinny and Lena lesson, and it was brilliant, And I
Yeah.
I used to have quite. I mean, even I notice it when I watch Grange Hill. Um, I used to have. I didn't like eye contact. I didn't like making eye contact with
Right.
people. I found it quite intimidating
Uh-huh.
for quite a long time, and teaching really helped me with that.
Uh-huh.
I could go confidently into a room with lots of people now, and sort of take not a higher position, but take a position where you can manage the
Yeah.
situation, kind of thing. And working with Lena, with Ian as well,
Uh-huh.
he would make us stand nose to nose,
Wow.
looking in each other's eyes, and oh God, it drove me mad. Like, and I thought, why is he doing this? It's like, this is so unenjoyable, and I really didn't get it, and I found it so intimidating. But then as time went on,
Yeah.
we got to know each other really, really well, I totally understand it now. And at the time, if we broke our gaze while we were singing to each other, nose to nose, start again,
Wow.
and we just had to do it over and over again. And yeah, he cracked that one, for
Yeah.
me. Yeah, he really helped me. He was such a brilliant vocal coach.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was lucky to have been able to go to him. Really, I know that.
Yeah. So what are you doing now then?
Well, I'm a landlord.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I've never set out to do the things that I've ended up doing. Actually, I never set out to be a singer, and then I didn't set out to be a teacher. I had a tiling company as well with my first partner, so we ran that for quite a long time. For some reason, I mean, don't give me any DIY work to do ever, because I'm the worst. But yeah, I've always been affiliated to the building industry.
Right.
I hated it. Yeah, it was just a means to an end, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing kind of led to another, really, with music and all that, and agents, and how I found myself without one.
Right.
But I didn't realize that, you don't realize how far you are in an industry until you're out of it, and then you're trying to scramble to get back in it, and it's bloody hard. And I got to a point where, I was earning money. I was paying a mortgage, and my mum was getting very old, and at the time my partner wasn't very well. That didn't amount to much, but at the time, I thought that he had lymphoma.
Right.
So I was really worried, and like, these two people are going to need me. And I got offered this theatre in education in Northern Ireland, and I thought, well, I've done, I'm not above any job or anything, but I'd done an apprenticeship while I was at Corona, and cut my teeth on some really nice work, like Grange Hill, and it felt like going right the way back to the start again when I was in my mid-30s.
Right.
And I actually turned a job down, which was I did it for good reasons, not because I felt like I was too good to do it or anything. And I'd done the script, what do they call it? That you go for the read-throughs, so while the script's being written, so that they can hear actors doing it. And I thought I was doing the casting director a favour, because he needed an actor to do this thing. But I didn't realise that they were lining me up for the job.
Right.
And I just couldn't go away from home and earn so little, and leave my mum, who was partially sighted, and she was a bit doddery on her legs at that time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I couldn't do it. And she actually lived a hell of a lot longer than that. She was 98 when she passed.
Wow. It's an innings, that, isn't it?
Yeah, my mum off, my dad off. Yeah, and I just felt that I needed to be here, and I couldn't give acting the energy that it needed, especially being a singing teacher at the time as well. And I was getting busier and busier with that. I'd do the odd amdram, and and that was nice because you get the lead roles, whereas you don't always get a lead role when you're going for a West End job or something.
Brilliant.
I would love to have continued it.
Yeah.
It's just the way things happened, and I would still like to do it now. If Phil Redmond's listening, I would like to be in that film if it ever comes about. That'd be great.
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously, you'll have to be a different character, or or the ghost of Antoni.
Yeah, the ghost of Karamanopolis. Yeah. God, yeah, I know. How could you write that one? Well, if they got Bobby Ewing taken away by aliens, I'm sure they can find something to bring me back.
I don't see why not. So, are you still in touch with anyone from Grange Hill then?
No, not really.
Right.
Through Facebook and reunions. I mean, I don't think I was in any scenes with people like Erkin and Liam McDonald, and but on Facebook, since Facebook came about, I've done a couple of sort of PAs with Erkin. There's been the reunions as well, so I've I've been to them, like the 40, I think it was the 40th reunion. So Donald War was there. Terry Sue Pat was still with us. And George Armstrong. I've seen Todd around, but it was a long time ago. It wasn't at the later reunion. I didn't see him there, but I knew he remembered me because he said Vivian.
Right.
Like, only the police and HM Revenues told me that. Or my mum and dad when they were angry with me. Yeah. No, I don't really. There's a few faces on Facebook. Paul, but the musician. That's it. Yeah. And so it was really nice to see people like that, and obviously Robert Craig Morgan, and you catch up like that. I've not seen him in many years, but yeah, and I would love to. If he turned up at something, I'd be there. But I think he's, some people have shied away from it, haven't they? So.
Yeah. I mean,
I get it. Yeah,
that's fair enough, isn't it? All right, so we are coming towards the end, Vinny, and I have got the same 3 questions I always ask people towards the end of this. So, other than Antoni Karamanopolis, who was your favourite character on Grange Hill?
That's a good question. Well, I did like Terry Sue Pat's character. But who wouldn't want to have been Tucker Jenkins? Yeah, of course. Yeah, he was. The male character. Trisha Yates. She was Michelle Herbert. She was. All the girls wanted to be her. All the boys wanted to be Todd Carty, and it was just like Grease.
Yeah,
the boys wanted to be John Travolta. The girls wanted to be Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, no one's ever put it that way before, but yeah, you're right. You're right. So obviously, if you couldn't have played Antoni, you would have liked to have played Tucker. Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah. That's the only other part I'd have done.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay then.
I'd have done anything. Someone sweeping the floor in the background. If there was an audition for a 4-foot Chinese man or something, I'd be on it. I'd just put it down to audition experience.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Okay, then. So then the final question, Vinny. Why do you think there is still such affection for Grange Hill?
Well, it was the first of its kind, really, wasn't it? Like it showed real life, and warts and all real life, and in a comprehensive school. So, and then obviously the subject matters that it's it kept people's interest for so long. Generations of people were watching it. Their parents saw it, and now their kids are watching it once they've grown up. It was groundbreaking and longevity. So yeah, and I always used to think, well, why are people interested in like my character, for example? Because it wasn't, it was a fleeting, a fleeting visit in the, in the grand scheme of things. But I do get it now, because the main characters, for example, Trisha Yates and Todd Carty, they were so well known, and their photos were so requested, and like the autograph things would be en masse. But then for a smaller character, like mine, they possibly hadn't produced a photo or done that photo shoot, and and people start wondering, oh, what happened to them all? What happened to these people? Where are they now?
Yeah.
So there became, that happened later, I think, an interest in, where are they now kind of thing. And I'd like to have said on Broadway, but anyway, I've enjoyed. I've no regrets for anything. I've really enjoyed my life.
Yeah, brilliant.
And continue to do so.
Excellent.
Probably drink too much beer, but it's great fun.
Oh, great. Well, Vinny, thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure. It really, really is a pleasure.
It's
nice reminiscing.
It's been really,
and I'm
really
going to have to go back and look at those episodes that I totally forgot that I was in.
And like I say, as well as being in Grange Hill, you are the Grange Hill first, aren't you? You were the the first on-screen death in Grange Hill, and that's is that a nice legacy to have? I don't know, but anyway.
Well, but like better go out with a bang, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, thank you again.
Disappear.
Thank you
It's
again.
a pleasure. Really is a pleasure.
It's been great talking to you and hearing your experiences there. Anyone who's listening, I'll speak to you next time. Cheers. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Bye bye.